Most people think of drought as something you see: brown fields, dry rivers, cracked soil. But India's most dangerous drought is one you cannot see at all. It is happening in our aquifers, the underground water reserves that billions of us depend on every single day. India is one of the largest groundwater users on the planet. We extract more groundwater than the United States and China combined. More than 60% of our irrigated farmlands run on groundwater. 85% of our rural drinks groundwater. And from 2002 to 2021, in just 19 years, India lost 450 cubic kilometers of groundwater, gone, pulled out, and not replenished. And here's the part that makes it invisible. You don't feel it until the borewell runs dry. You don't see it until your crop fails. You don't know it until it's too late. Now, we want you to think about a woman, a daily wage farm worker in a rural India. She wakes up before sunrise, she walks to fetch water, then she walks to the field. She earns her income planting and harvesting labor that depends entirely on whether there is enough water to irrigate those fields. When the groundwater drops, the farmer reduces irrigation. When irrigation reduces, he needs fewer workers. Fewer worker means she loses her income. And because her options outside the farm are limited, she doesn't just lose a day's wage, she loses her entire livelihood. Women make up a massive share of India's informal agricultural workforce, and they are the first to be pushed out when the water disappears. And it's not just livelihoods. Across 440 districts in India, nearly one fifth of groundwater samples tested are contaminated: uranium, fluoride, arsenics, and nitrates. This crisis costs India nearly $80 billion every year through health expenses, lost productivity, and damaged farmlands. This is not a future problem anymore. This is happening right now. So, how did the world's largest democracy end up in this situation? The answer is policy, habit, and ignorance. The Green Revolution of the 1960s and 70s helped India grow enough food to feed itself. That was a genuine achievement, but it came with a cost. We built an agricultural system that runs on water intensive crops: paddy in Punjab, sugarcane in drought prone Maharashtra, crops that drink groundwater like there is no tomorrow. Then came subsidized electricity. Farmers across India received free or nearly free electricity to run tube wells. So there is no signal, no cost, no reason to stop pumping. The water feels free until it isn't there anymore. And we waste the rain we do get. India receives enough rainfall every year to meet the needs of over a billion people, but we only capture 8% of it. The rest runs off into the sea. Climate change is accelerating everything. Monsoons are becoming more erratic, longer dry spells, then suddenly heavy downpours. The rain comes too fast to be absorbed, the aquifers don't get time to recharge, and this crisis deepens every single year. This is the part we want you to pay close attention to, because Green India is not just about problems, it is about the people solving them. Across India, quietly, without headlines, communities are fighting back. In Maharashtra, the Pani Panchayats, village water councils, often led by women, collectively decide how much water gets used, when, and by whom. Not the government, not a corporation, the community itself managing its own survival. In Rajasthan, the Mukhyamantri Jal Swavalamban Abhiyan has helped improve water levels in more than 50% monitored wells across the state. Ancient step wells are being revived, check dams are being built, rainwater is being collected and guided back to the earth. And then there is Atal Bhujal Yojana, a central government program that hands groundwater management back to local water users associations. Where it has been implemented seriously, it works. Water tables are rising, farmers are recovering, women are spending less time walking for water and more time building lives. The solutions exist, the knowledge exists. What we needed is scale and the will to act. We want to speak to you directly. You may not be a farmer, you may not live near a depleted aquifer, but you are part of the system. If you own a home or a building, look into the rainwater harvesting. It's not expensive, it is not complicated, and it directly replenishes the groundwater beneath your feet. Push your local government, ask your panchayat, your municipality, what is the borewell policy here? Who is monitoring extraction? What is the recharge plan? These are public questions. You have the right to ask them and consume consciously. The food on your plate, especially rice and sugar, has a massive water footprint. Knowing that doesn't mean you stop eating, it means you start thinking. Small actions multiplied by a billion people change systems. India has survived droughts before. We are a civilization built on the edge of water scarcity. Our ancestors built step wells, tanks, and canals because they understood water is not guaranteed. But we forgot that lesson. But the people you met in this video, the women at the Pani Panchayats, the community reviving these wells, the farmers shifting to less thirsty crops, they are remembering it. The drought you cannot see is still a drought. And the question is not whether India has a water crisis. The question is, what are we going to do about it? This is Green India by Big Story. If this mattered to you, share it with the one person because awareness is where the change begins. See you in the next one.